So I've got the hard task to talk to you to introduce the concept of delivery models to you today, and we're going to talk a bit about the environment project database as a response to that. So today we're going to introduce the concept, explain why it's important, talk about the database, a bit of example, and talk about the early findings. So, delivery model, what is it? To start simple, it's a concept that can be compared to a business model in the enterprise world. The only difference is that delivery model is also applicable to non-profit organizations. It's a very, very broad concept. It's just a little list of key factors that it includes. Needs, users, resources, suppliers, ownership, equipment, and financing. Wow, it's broad. So, and there is not a single definition on what it means. There is one from practical action which is often used, and it's here, the way that a project design aims to overcome the barrier to scale up and sustainability in energy access development projects. So among all of these things that it includes, we can kind of divide this in three categories, so technology choice, implementing process, and enabling environment. I'm mostly going to talk about the second one, implementing process, because that's the one where we can make the most change, and we've already talked about technology choice a bit, like siting, resources, this kind of thing. One thing that is a bit similar, we can't really talk about the differences and the similarity in the concept, but one thing that is used, and I think it's quite similar, is the ecosystem perspective. John here, or Practical Action, talk about understanding technology in their ecosystem. So it's a bit different in scope and stuff, but what it means is that we need to understand technologies as socially embedded, so beyond just the technical aspect of them. So the two next slides are meant to scare you slightly. Wow! So that's the definition that has been given. It's horrible, it's big. It's
hard to see from here. Can you read them?
No, we're not going to go through it. So that's all the aspects that you need to see. So the environment, the finance, the process, and you see the turbine is in the middle, and all those layers of stuff that needs to be taken into account, and all the actors that need to work simultaneously for a project to be successful. A nightmare. So there has never been research specifically on the delivery model for wind power yet, but there is a few places where you can get some guidance. Practical Action is a very good one. The International Institute for Environmental Development is great. They publish a lot of things. Boiling Point is a very good journal which uses a lot of case study, very accessible from Hayden. And Practical Action has developed a toolkit for all renewable energy services, where you can find some tools to think about the model, whether you're asking yourself the right question, whether you're missing something. So that's a good start, a good place to start. Then why do we need to care really? Delivery models are a hot topic in everything, not only in renewable energy. They are for development studies in general. There has been a kind of realization in the 90s that most of the development work wasn't doing its job, that it wasn't working, and sometimes even worse, that it was doing opposite. There are some famous stories, like yesterday in Nicaragua, people didn't want electricity. What they wanted and needed, it was sanitation. There are examples like in all aspects, like a very famous one in Africa, Oxfam at the beginning of went to build a well in a village, and they said, oh look, those people, they don't have running water, let's build a well. And they built the well. All the engineers from the UK, France, Germany went back home, and after a few weeks they called, so how is the well going? Oh, it's been sabotaged. So the engineer come back and say, what's going on? So they clean it up, make it work again, and a few weeks again, sabotaged again, and it took months to realize what was going on. And actually, it was the women who were in charge of fetching the water, but they didn't want to have running water. They were really happy to go and fetch the water, because it was the time where they could be off the radar, be among themselves, and chat, And now they didn't have to fetch the water, but they gave them a new job, which was much less fun. We're like, no, we don't want it. So why should we care? Is because for all projects, development or not, it should start with the people that you're supposed to have. It should be demand-led. It shouldn't be technology or supply-led. It should be what do they need, what do they want. That's the beginning. And often that determines whether this project is going to be a success or not, whether the community is supporting, whether they feel pride and sense of ownership of those things. And why is it even more important for wind than everything else? Well, we've talked about it a lot, like wind turbine will fail eventually, but who is going to repair them? Who is going to pay for those repairs? And often, like, those questions have been overlooked, and that's a massive problem. So there is a need for more research in what can we do in order to develop pathways for action in the future that takes all the specificities of wind, because all those research, they talk about energy services or projects in general, but without taking the special needs of wind farm. So, yeah, no research yet. So, obviously, wind environment mission of creating a network of people developing small wind needed to address this issue for a successful project. So, we've been organizing a database online, which some of you might have seen, and depending on those little categories that were developed before. And with this, we are going to make a set of guidelines, hopefully, with what we can't do, or what we should or should do, what works, what doesn't. So that's the little paper I've sent to loads of you, harassed some of you, and we're looking for a turbine story. Who pays for it? Who repair it? Why is it for? Why is it used? Who owns that? So it's on the website. I've already uploaded a few projects, and what we see is that there are loads of different models that exist, between some that are community run and paid by fund, or some that are microfinance, or all the different models, and it's fine. There is not one that should or shouldn't work. It all depends on the context and what are we trying to achieve here, what is the need. And the only one good thing is that all the projects involved, yet one thing that should always be there is thinking about community and operational maintenance. And what we see is that how to adapt to different contexts. The database hopefully is going to show a different range of how can we implement wind turbine, but in different contexts, for a school, for a farmer, for a political project, and what are the different things that we should think about in all of this context. So there is also, hopefully, it's going to help us to see like some innovative model. So, for example, I know Wind Power Tanzania has this concept with teaching teachers first, like as a way of making sure that operation and maintenance are followed up. Or field school, as you talked about making productive use of energy and making sure people can afford it in a way, or how to finance it through volunteers, like Tripalium is doing or Winded is doing. So hopefully all of these things with the database we can come back together and make some conclusion about what we should do and in which context. So the user model is a broad and complicated concept. However, it's so important for a successful project. No research has been done so far, so hopefully the project database is going to be an answer to this. It's a simplified version, but it's a way to start. It's a good place to start thinking about it. And yeah, the very few projects that have been uploaded already now are kind of showing how it could be a very good potential for developing this kind of guidelines and guidelines. And unfortunately, I'm really sorry, I've been, I think, giving you more questions than answers about delivery models. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point of thinking about those things and asking yourself the right question at the beginning. How is this going to work over the whole lifetime of the turbine? And hopefully we can find something out of that. So yeah, thank you.